Family Support Groups, written by Ashley Lebke at Ball State University for SPCE 683, Section 804, March 2nd, 2025. Today we will discuss the assessment of community needs for early intervention services. We will look at data from the community and identify potential gaps in applied behavior analysis services within the community, analyze this data, and ideas for a program that would address the need for these services. Then we will discuss potential stakeholders and ways to engage them in the early intervention process. We will look at potential sources of funding for such a project and establish a timeline for the implementation of this project. We will end by sharing final thoughts. The first step in providing care is assessing the needs within the community. What services would make the most impact on our community? Based on my direct observation, it is evident that there is a need for early intervention services for children with developmental delays and other neurological disorders such as autism spectrum disorder. Each year, there seems to be more children entering the child care and preschool setting with a need for behavioral, speech, social, and other special therapy services. Based on this observation, I created a survey that could be used to identify the opinions about early intervention and what barriers might be in place preventing individuals from seeking or receiving treatment for their child. In addition to surveying community members and stakeholders, I would research the number of applied behavior analysis clinics and their locations throughout our city to see which area of the city is most underserved. This community needs survey can be found at the end of this presentation. There are gaps in behavioral health services in our area, especially in low-income and underserved areas of the city. There is a lack of early intervention in preschool settings for several reasons. Most children are in early child care centers because their family members work full-time. Specifically, in the child care center where I work, many children are in our care from the time the center opens to closing time, and sometimes even picked up by a babysitter. This leaves little to no time for parents to reach out for help or to be able to utilize the help due to transportation time and financial constraints. Partnering with local ABA clinics to provide assessment pro bono within the early childhood setting would be a great first step for providing treatment for underserved children. A second need is support groups specifically for parents of newly diagnosed children. These groups would ideally be led by a parent with a child on the spectrum speaking about their experiences with ABA services and other challenges and successes that come with parenting a child with special needs. A third area of need is a way for parents to receive training on ABA techniques while they are waiting for their child to get services. This may be due to wait lists, insurance issues, etc. Behavior technicians or behavior analysts could provide training on things positive and negative reinforcement techniques, functional behavior analysis, token economies, and much more. If parents feel empowered, they are more likely to do everything possible to help their child succeed. Early training before receiving services would be beneficial in parents feeling comfortable to partner with therapists and continue programming at home after beginning to receive ABA services. Given the gaps mentioned in the previous slide, I believe the area of greatest need is for ABA assessment and services to be provided within the early child care setting. While no data was actually collected for this project, I would collect data by interviewing families to gauge interest in this service. I would research the number of ABA centers within a 5-mile radius to the 2 largest child care providers in the city and speak with the directors of each of the centers to ensure this is a service that they would be interested in having at their center. I would then analyze this information and create an outline for beginning pro bono services in the early child care setting. After assessing needs throughout the community, the next step is to identify potential stakeholders, evaluate their impact in the community, and develop a strategy for engaging with them to participate in the proposed plan. It is imperative to partner with members in the community to make this initiative successful. Each type of stakeholder is beneficial to the process in their own right. Knowing the names of local pediatricians and reaching out to those who have shown to be successful in working with children that have developmental delays could be essential to the success of the project. Pediatricians can help assess and determine if children are in need of intervention services, and pediatricians who have a good reputation within the community can help promote the cause by sharing this initiative with their patients. There's a local not-for-profit organization in the area called My Autism Ally. The owner is invested in the ASD community because her own child is on the spectrum and she has seen firsthand what works and what doesn't work for treatment. This organization is highly involved with the community, holding special events each month and hosting support groups for different members of the autism spectrum disorder community. My Autism Ally is a huge advocate for services and can help provide the names of providers that would be interested in providing services or collaborating on the proposed project. Reaching out to early childhood teachers is also important. Teachers are the ones directly interacting with clients on a day-to-day basis. They can provide insight on the client's demeanor and behaviors in the classroom. Partnering with teachers is a huge part of the client's success. Building rapport with classroom teachers will make collaborations easier. With proper training, teachers could carry out some intervention techniques within the classroom. There are several ABA clinics in our local area. Reaching out to the larger clinics will likely result in greater success. These clinics could potentially have funds to support the initiative or extra staff that are willing to provide pro bono services when they are not working with their normal caseload. Lastly, the Bowen Center is a local organization that provides different kinds of counsel and therapy services to members in the community. They offer out-of-center services and may be willing to come to the child care center to provide early intervention, as they do offer some pro bono services. They could support this initiative through service provision and partnership. Each potential stakeholder requires a unique engagement strategy. To reach out to local pediatricians, I would first look at personal connections to see if they have experience in working with a specific doctor or pediatric practice. Knowing the doctors make special time to meet with pharmacy reps and other sales reps, I would request to meet with them at this time. At my meeting, I would provide a brief overview of the proposed plan and explain why pediatricians are an important part of the initiative. I would back this information with the data collected in the beginning stages of the project. For local nonprofits, I will call and speak with their programming coordinator. I will explain the proposed project and ask if they have the resources to help the project be successful. I would stress the importance of community support and involvement in the early intervention process. Since I am an early childhood teacher, I would suggest the directors allow me to hold a staff meeting to discuss the project. At the meeting, I would explain the initiative, get feedback on what the greatest need in each classroom, and request their partnership, explaining that providing early intervention services will help students become more successful in the classroom, in turn decreasing challenging behaviors, improving communication outcomes, and more. In reaching out to ABA clinics and other community organizations, I would email the proposed strategy along with reasons why the support of ABA staff or therapists are essential to the cause. I would explain without their partnership, the initiative may not succeed. I would follow up with a phone call and request an in-person meeting if necessary. Pro bono services typically cannot be offered without some sort of funding. Identifying potential sponsorships, donations, and grants is essential to carrying out such an initiative. There are many options for obtaining funding if you do a little research. There are different types of grants that provide financial support for different reasons. For example, the Awesome Foundation awards a $1,000 grant each month to support awesome projects such as community initiatives, arts, technology, education, and more. Other donations could come from crowdfunding sites such as Donors Choose, GoFundMe, etc. The downside to crowd sharing websites is that they often take a portion of the money raised. Corporate sponsorships are also an option. Oftentimes, they will provide matching gifts to your fundraiser, help with sponsoring your event, and provide marketing materials to promote the event. Local sponsorships can come from larger ABA clinics or early childhood programs in the area. They may not provide financial assistance, but may want to partner to provide programming. Lastly, in-kind contributions are always useful. Reach out to those who can donate materials for the project, a space to hold meetings, or individuals who may volunteer their time to support the initiative. It never hurts to ask for contributions. The worst response you can get is no. Donors Choose is a crowdfunding source that is for educators, founded by educators. They partner with many corporate sponsors, and Donors Choose will even match the first project dollar for dollar. Donors Choose projects are eligible for any teacher or educator employed full-time in a U.S. public school or Head Start program. There are no deadlines, and sign-up is ongoing. It usually takes 3 days for the project to be reviewed and listed on the website. Teachers must fill out an online form with personal information included, such as the school name, personal email address, and cell phone number. Brief demographic information is required, and the teachers can start creating their list of needs. Once the list of needs is written, there will be a few short essay questions to answer about the importance of the project. Once the project is listed, the teacher is expected to share the project on her social media or with friends and family to help reach the funding goal. Materials will be shipped directly to the school, and then students should write notes and send photos of the project in action to the donors. If the project is not fully funded, it is listed on the site for up to 4 months and can be relisted to source the remaining items needed. For this initiative, the goal would be to gain materials and resources to provide therapy to students on a pro bono basis. Once the materials are received, there should be no further funding needed for this aspect of the project. However, through open communication with donors, there's the potential to form partnerships that could be used in the future for other financial needs. In order to keep the initiative on track, a timeline should be developed. The first step in creating the project is to complete a community needs assessment to see what needs are the greatest and where they lie. This should be completed within 1 month of the initiative start date. If given too long, there could be a lack of response, therefore needs may be not may not be assessed accurately. While assessing community need, stakeholders should be identified. This includes preparing any presentation, emails, or handouts that will help explain the importance of the project. Through talking with each stakeholder, partnerships should begin to emerge. This includes partnering to provide a space for therapy, volunteers to provide the therapy, and clients that would benefit from the early intervention services. These clients would be unassessed or undiagnosed or already diagnosed but not receiving services due to various reasons. The next step is securing the money to fund the initiative. This should be done within 6 to 9 months of starting the project. To mitigate the lack of volunteers or lack of funding, there will be a contingency plan in place. A list of local ABA clinics will be sourced, and information about the initiative will be sent to RBTs and BCBAs to reach out for partnership. In-kind donations, such as the use of a sensory room in the location space and shared classroom materials, will be considered Plan B if funding falls through. Once the project has been funded and the items received, the therapy space will be set up with materials and ready to deliver programming to students. Ideally, the initiative will take no longer than 9 to 12 months to get up and running. Progress and results of the initiative should be evaluated every couple of months to make sure the timetable is still on schedule. If an item is taking longer than expected to complete, the timeline will be adjusted accordingly while making the best effort to make up time and keep the project on track. Once the services have started, stakeholders will be surveyed after 3 months to get feedback on the initiative. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this early intervention initiative pitch. I know that I went over schedule, and I apologize for that. Any questions, concerns, or comments can be addressed to the email above.